Hey, what's up, you guys? Today I want to talk about the realities of boat ownership, specifically the good, the bad, and the ugly. Over the last few years, when I've posted up videos of northern Utah wakeboarding, most of the time it's good times. You get to see me, my wife, a bunch of our friends wakeboarding and sometimes wake surfing. But the realities of boat ownership isn't all fun and games. There's a lot of times where it's very, very expensive. It's frustrating. It makes you angry because of the things that pop up. And the reason why I came up with this idea for this video is because obviously the other day, about 4 days ago, on Wednesday, April 10th, I was out on the lake. Perfect day. It's been the best weather we've had so far. As you know from my previous videos lately, the weather's been really up and down, and we're going to get 2 to 3 days of epic conditions. We were on the water, no one's around, water is glassy, and after my friend's son, 10-year-old son, ended up doing his set, we change out the riders, and all of a sudden boat starts acting up. It's starting to throw fault codes and all this kind of stuff. So long story short, we end up getting stuck in the middle of the lake. Now Willard Bay is 22 square miles, so we're basically stuck right in the middle of the lake. There's nobody around. Fortunately, I called my friend Jeremy Bowden, and he and his son Devin drove their boat from their house in far west Utah and dropped in, came out, towed us in, and got us off the water in a couple of hours. So I'm very grateful for Jeremy and Devin. And what ended up happening was the alternator crapped out, and so my batteries ended up draining while we were riding. And again, these new boats, they just run off these big electrical systems, and when both my batteries just drew down to nothing, we ended up getting stuck. So obviously it can happen to any kind of boat, any boat manufacturer. And the funny thing was, after he got us, we got into the marina and got my boat onto the trailer, he and his son went out and they were going to try and get a wakeboard set in, but they were having issues with their boat. And then when they got back to the marina, and he shut off the motor after his son jumped off to go grab the truck and trailer, his boat wouldn't start back up. So my wife and I had to go out and help him and his son get their boat back onto the trailer. And fortunately, he was able to paddle in because he was already in the marina, and we were able to like rope him into his trailer, because if that would have happened out in the middle of the lake, both of us would have been stuck. And it was already getting pretty late. The sun was going down. So that just made me think about this topic, and, specifically about wakeboard, wake surf, inboard competition ski boats. Now, boat ownership, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly with any type, whether it's fishing boats, john boats, super yachts, and again, competition wakeboard and wake surf boats. But the big part of the good side of boat ownership is you get to go whenever you want, provided that you have a regular crew, which I do. And you get to make a lot of great memories with your family and your friends, and it provides a lot of enjoyment on the water. The the bad part is when things like that happen, and the acronym BOAT, BOAT, is completely accurate. And if you're a boat owner, if you're in the water sports industry, you've heard the acronym before. That BOAT stands for break out another 1,000. And it's absolutely true. And so I was fortunate enough that Marine Products, my local shop's sponsor and dealer, Jim Bingham, Cody, and Justin, and Milt, all those service guys, they were able to get me in the very next morning and swap out the alternator and swap out the serpentine belt and get me on my way within one day. That's not the usual type of service that you would expect, even from great dealers. So I'm very, very grateful for Marine Products and the service crew there for getting me out in one day. And that was my birthday, Thursday, April 11th. I had already had a day set up to take out a crew of friends to go wakeboard on my birthday, my 51st birthday. But obviously that got canceled. So that's also part of the bad parts. Things pop up and you got to change your plans on a moment's notice. You know, unfortunately, that happens sometimes. And the other bad part is it is expensive. It's pricey. You know, the boat ownership part of it is just the beginning. You know, these new boats cost a lot of money. If you do your research, you can find out what they're going for these days, and that's just the beginning. You know, then you've got the registration, the yearly registration. Then you've got insurance on top of that. Then if you don't have a garage that's big enough to store your boat through the winter, if you live in a seasonal state, or your driveway isn't big enough, you got to find a place that's gonna store your boat. And storage these days, since COVID, have gone up astronomically. And fortunately, I have an indoor storage that location that's just a few minutes from my house, and it's pricey, but it's worth the size and the utilities that I get with it. And it's a protected, gated storage facility. Then you need the tow vehicle. You need a truck big enough to tow these bigger, more heavier boats these days. When I had my previous boat, which was a 2002 Super Aeronautique 210, it was very light, even with the trailer. Okay, so I could tow it with my 2008 Chevy Tahoe, a 5.3 liter. There was no way, living here in Utah at altitude and going up some pretty steep hills and stuff, that I was going to be able to do that on a regular basis. So I had to upgrade, and I got a Toyota Tundra. Now it's only a 5.7, but it does the job. Unfortunately, Willard Bay doesn't have any big mountain passes. Typically, only a couple of times a year do I have to take my boat over any significant, 6 to 8,000 foot mountain passes, and the Tundra still does a great job. But you wear through the tires a lot quicker. The wear and tear on the motor is very, very hard. So you gotta spend a lot more money on tires and vehicle maintenance on the tow vehicle. And then getting back to the boat, the bigger motors. I have a 575 horsepower supercharged Raptor. You pay a lot of money to do service work on that as well. And motor oil is extremely expensive right now. I do my own oil changes, but a lot of times when mechanical and computerized things go down, I can't do it myself. I have to take it to Marine Products and have them do it. So there's a lot of times where there's a lot of back and forth, and you're spending gas on the boat, you're spending gas on the tow vehicle, and then you get to the boat trailer, and that's another set of maintenance things that you have to go through. You have to register your trailer. It's a separate part of the vehicle. The registration doesn't go with the boat, so you got two registrations for just the boat and the trailer. Now you got four tires that you need to also maintain, and the spare. You always want to make sure that your trailer has a spare, and that's if you have a dual axle. Most of these big boats nowadays, it's a minimum of a dual axle trailer. Some of them now are triple axle trailers. So with the cost of tires going up, if I wanted to replace all four of my tires, I'm looking at over $2,000. So, and that's just for either my truck or my trailer tires. That's another big bad part of boat ownership. Even though, again, you're making great memories and it does bring you a lot of fun. The ugly part is if you're the boat owner and potentially you, a loved one, or a friend gets hurt on your boat, and God forbid they get killed. It happens every year. Every state, people unfortunately die from either negligence or just pure accidents. And it's a sad thing when it does happen, but it is a reality about being on the water, being a boat owner, that it could potentially happen to you, even if you are very safe and responsible. I know a lot of guys that are very knowledgeable, they're great boat owners, and they're very responsible, but they weren't immune to that. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so if you're not a boat owner and you're fortunate enough to hook up with somebody or a crew of people that are boat owners, just take into consideration, you know, the expense and the responsibility and the upkeep that goes into, you know, boat ownership and boat maintenance. I was just talking to my older brother the other night, and he's the one who got me into wakeboarding 30 years ago. And you know, he's been out of the sport for many years now, so he's very disconnected from the cost of it. Back when he was running his wakeboard shop, R&R Surf and Ski on Oahu in Hawaii, you know, he was telling me like he was hesitant and balking at paying $40,000 for a brand new pro aeronautique. Nowadays, you know, you can't even get a 20-year-old good used boat for that price. You know, and most brand new boats are going minimum 150 to 175, if not over $200,000. So, uh, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, he was saying like, man, if I was still wakeboarding today, I would rather just pay gas money, you know, because you're probably, you know, in a seasonal state, you're only going to pay about maybe $1,000 in gas money if you're riding once or twice a week, versus probably it's estimated anywhere from, you know, 12 to $18,000 when you total everything up per year on owning a boat, a modern boat. So just keep that in mind, that if you're fortunate enough to go regularly on somebody's boat, you pay respect to the property, you take care of it, you're not jumping up and down on the seats, you help, you know, wipe down the boat and take care of it, you know. And fortunately, you know, most of my crew that I ride with, they're all boat owners themselves, and we tend to share time on the water on each other's boats, and we help each other out. So but so they obviously know what it takes to be a boat owner. But if you don't, and you want to know more, and you want to be invited back as a regular, always make sure that you're not just taking from the crew, but you're contributing, and you're a fun person to be around on the water, and you're not just a user. You're gonna stay around, you're gonna help clean the boat, you're gonna do more than what is expected of you, and you don't wait around to be told what to do. You get, you know, you show initiative, and you just help out right away. And with that said, you know, with boat owners, if you have kids that are growing up in the sport and they want to wakeboard or wake surf, obviously the parents are, you know, they're the owners of the boat. Teach them young. You know, there's some parents that are very diligent about making sure that the kids are helping wipe up and clean up, whether that's just wiping a little bit of the trailer, or the back part of the lower back part of the boat, or the rims, you know, stuff like that. It goes a long way from starting them off young and teaching them the realities of what it means to be a boat owner. I've seen people also just, you know, it's in their heads it's easier to just put the kids in the tow vehicle and let them clean the boat themselves, and I understand that as well. But if you think this is going to be a long-term family affair, it's probably better to make sure that your kids are involved with that process, so they learn early and they grow an appreciation for what it means to own a boat. My dream when I was young, outside of skating, was I wanted to own a boat, but for different reasons. My dad, and my uncle were big fishermen, and there's many times that we'd go fishing. Growing up in, you know, being born and raised in Hawaii, and going fishing every weekend, I wanted to own my own boat. You know, I remember being in the third or fourth grade, and I told my dad, "Hey, you know, I want to own a fishing boat." And my dad said, "Look, if you work hard and save up enough money to buy the motor, Uncle and I will build the boat for you, and you just need to pay for the motor." And we're talking about a 10-foot, you know, John boat to go fishing, just spread offshore with probably a 20 horsepower Johnson, you know, outboard motor. And you know, when I got into skating, that dream kind of fell away a little bit. But then as I found wakeboarding, you know, my love and my dream of owning my own boat, was reignited, and it just switched from fishing to obviously wakeboarding. And now I'm on my fourth boat. I've owned two Nautiques, and this is my second Supra, and it's I feel very blessed that I can afford the lifestyle of being a wakeboarder and being a weekend boater, because again, it is a lifestyle. There's been people that have contacted me wanting to get into the sport, wanting to buy a boat, and I would take them out to show them what it's about and what it means to own a boat, and discuss a lot of things that I just explained to you on this video. And in the end, they were just like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. I said, that's why I wanted to talk you through this and show you what it's like, because most of the time, if you're not an owner and you go with somebody that owns a boat, you just get to enjoy the good side of it. You don't get to see really the harsh reality of boat ownership. And three of them so far really, really were appreciative, and none of them actually ended up buying a boat because they realized that their kids weren't involved or invested enough in it, and they weren't going to be willing to spend the money to make it a family lifestyle. And I say lifestyle because really it is a lifestyle, and if you make it a lifestyle, you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it. That's why I spend a lot of time taking care of my boat, both inside and out. There's times where things do happen. No boat manufacturer is immune from problems, and so my breakdown on the water the other day is not because of Supra or Skier's Choice. I've broken down on many other brands as well, whether it's my boat or friends' boats as well. So again, I just hope this video kind of goes through a little bit of that reality of what it means to be not only in the sport but specifically boat ownership. And if you have any comments or questions or feedback, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think, if you were a boat owner or a current boat owner or thinking about it, and there are some questions you have that I didn't address in this video. All right, so again, I want to thank you guys all for continued support and watching these videos. I really appreciate it. And the weather, again, we had 3 straight days of pretty nice weather, and today it started off nice, but it was really windy. It was warm and sunny, but really windy. Tomorrow it's dropping 20 degrees and we're going to have rain. Fortunately, it changed from snow to just rain. In the next few days, it's going to be windy again. So hopefully at the end of this coming week, we're going to get a streak of good weather again, and I'll be able to get back on the water. But until then, I hope you guys are having a great time wherever you may be. And until next time, have a good one. Aloha.